Okay, so once we've registered and completed our profile details, we can go ahead and do some bits and pieces. Remember, we haven't added any credit to the platform yet, but that's okay because there's a few things we can do. There's two things we can do actually. There's one of the things we can do is we can configure a channel, and we can also configure a Muxer, and neither of those two will work without actually assigning an engine to them. So obviously the engine is in our cloud. It's a combination of software and hardware, and depending on what you're doing here, well, a different one of those will be assigned. But just to show you an example, what we can do is we can go and configure a channel. So when we go into the channel settings, as you can see, there's no channels there, and what we can do is we can add one. So when we click on add, it will give us a whole bunch of stuff we can configure and set here. So why would we want to do this? Well, let's say you have your own HDMI encoder, you've got your own source, you've got a camera, you've got a webcam, or you've got broadcasting software and you're live streaming something. Our platform accepts RTMP, it accepts extensions of .m3u8, and you can upload to our Zapelin cloud. You can upload in SD and HD, full HD, and even 4K. It'll accept all that. So that's what will be coming in here, and this is where you would just give your input video a URL name, a label, and this is where you would assign an engine, which we haven't got yet. But for the purpose of this exercise, what I'll do is I'll show you a quick demo of something I found on the internet, which is an Italian news channel called Rai News. So I'm just going to call this one Rai, and then I'll call that Rai News for my own reference. And all I've got to do in here is just copy and paste the URL, which has an extension of an M3U8. So remember, that's the only thing which is related to the input of the video or of the media, and all the rest of it here is stuff we can play with once we have an engine. So we can set the output bitrate, if it's going to be adaptive or not, the size, the ratios, the filters, and more bits and pieces, which we'll cover in another video. But just to give you a quick overview, what we're able to do, for instance, is if you use Twitch or YouTube and you wish to put some overlays or some banners across the bottom of your video before it goes into YouTube, you can actually do that here. So I can upload a logo, a background image, which would be layer 0. This is what we call multi-layered streaming. So if anything happens to your stream and you've got a background layer, well, it'll show you, it'll actually play, or it will stream the background image that you've uploaded until your live stream kicks in again. And this is where you can upload a banner. It can be even a transparent animated GIF, and you can set the position, how long it's supposed to appear there. And this is stuff which will actually work over a live stream. So while you're live streaming something and you upload these bits and pieces, you can make a banner appear on your live stream at the bottom. It can appear there for 6 seconds and then go away, and so on. So anyway, that'll be covered in another video. So what we've done here is we've just labeled our channel, we've copied and pasted the source URL, and now I'm just going to submit that. And as you can see now, we've got it there ready. And again, we can't do anything with it until we've assigned an engine. So that's what we'll look at next. Okay, so we have our channel configured here, but now we want to be able to do something with it. And obviously, in order to be able to do something with it, we need an engine. So depending on what we want to do, we need a different engine. Just to show you, what I've done is I've already added some credit to the platform, but just so you have an idea of how that would usually work, if you click on credit and then buy, you'll notice here there's 2 invoices, one of which has already been paid for. So I've got these 50 euros credit assigned. That was another test one which hasn't been paid, and I'll just create another one there. Let's say I wanted to add 100 euros credit, submit that, and after a little while it'll come up with the list, and you'll see that it's generated another invoice here of 100 euros. How do I pay for it? Well, I just click on this link here and it will show me a PDF of the concept, Zapelin Cloud credits, 100 euros. And if I click on pay now, then I'll be able to do that through PayPal. But as we're not going to do that, well, we're going to use the 50 euros credit that I've already been assigned. And that now allows me to assign a engine to this channel that we've created before. So what we do is we go into engine, and what we do is we add an engine. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it News engine, for example. It's automatically assigned an authorization token, which I'll leave as it is. And in engine mode, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, because there's various options, and each one has its purpose. But for the sake of this demo, what I'm going to be referring to is, for example, I have a live stream that I want to be able to, with which I want to be able to generate an output URL that I can use to put in Twitch or put in YouTube, or I want to add to a playlist that I can stream on a set-top box or something. Well, for the purpose of this exercise, the CX2 HD transcoder is sufficient. That'll allow me to, what it'll do is it'll create an HD transcoder in the cloud that I can assign to my News channel, and then I can fiddle and play with the output settings. So I'll go ahead and select that one. Data center, this is something which is related, because our Zapelin Cloud is hosted in various parts around the world. In this case, we've got some in Barcelona, in Helsinki, Nuremberg, and Falkenstein. And this is something that you can select and change depending on how efficient the stream is actually being delivered, because of international traffic routing. Sometimes, well, there are issues with international routing, and when you change it from Barcelona to Helsinki, for whatever reason, it might be that the stream works more optimally for you. So that's something you can play with. In any case, what I'll do for this purpose is I'll just select the Barcelona one, and that should be fine. Right, so the Barcelona one wasn't fine, and I'll choose the Helsinki one. Of course, different servers are available in Barcelona, and in Helsinki is where I can actually choose this one, the HD transcoder. So, okay, so we've created the News engine here, and I was able to do this because I've added the credit. But what I've still got to do is I've got to assign this engine to the channel. So I'll go back into channel settings. We edit the channel, and this is just as we left it before, but in this case what we're going to do is we're going to actually add or assign the News engine. So now we can actually fiddle with the rest of the settings. So I would like the output bit rate. Well, actually, yeah, 1500 is fine. And I can ask it to be adaptive as well. So in the event of the receiving end not having sufficient bandwidth, well, I'm going to get it to do adaptive at 1000. And I want the resolution to be HD. Aspect ratio, I'll leave this automatic. And for now, that'll be sufficient. So that's done. I'd like to cover a few bits and pieces that can that's still useful to know. We've got our channel set up and we've assigned an engine to it, but there's an interesting little feature here which is worth knowing about. So obviously you're paying some money to set up the engine and this channel, and that's one transcoding engine designated to just this channel. And in this share field here, if you have friends, colleagues, business partners who are interested in also using this channel that you've set up, well, it's just as easy as copying and pasting their email address in there, and the channel that you've created will automatically appear on their platform as a channel you've shared with them. So essentially what that means is that you're saving them money, because they will not have to set up a channel or an engine in order to be able to make use of it. So if you have a live stream you want to share with someone, well, then that's the way to do it. It's important that the email address that you copy and paste in here is the one that they used to sign up to the Zapelin cloud platform, right? So they have to first register and sign up with the Zapelin cloud. They possibly are setting up their own channels or their own streams, and they can share their stuff with you just like you can share your stuff with them. And I'll show you in a little bit how that works. And another thing to bear in mind is that what we've done here is we've just set up a channel with this engine and we've configured the output settings for it. So a muxing engine is interesting for those of you who have a bunch of channels or a bunch of streams which you wish to convert into traditional dvb-t or isdb-t format in order to be injected into an entire building. So this is where we would do this in the muxing section. Our cloud, what it does is it does muxing, and what it does is it takes the channels which we've already got in the platform, and you'll be able to pick and mix from those as long as they all fit in one multiplex. And as you can see here at the bottom, you can add a channel. So here is where we can see the one that we've added before ourselves, and we'll be able to select another one which has been shared with us by someone else. So we want to be able to add the Al Jazeera News, for example. We want to also add in Deutsche Welle, and these three channels automatically a different SID's been assigned to them. I can assign the LCN as well and the frequency. And what this does is, once we've assigned an engine to this, is that it will actually take the three channels, it will generate a mux, it will stream it to the device in a hotel or in a building, and then that signal will be converted into traditional terrestrial format, so that these three channels, which originate from IP streams, would be converted into a traditional format, injected into the entire building, and that will allow the building to just retune the TV sets, pick up these three channels that are being injected now, and there's no need for the hotel rooms to have an internet connection or IPTV or smart TVs or anything like that. These channels would appear on the TV sets as though they were traditional terrestrial TV channels that are being broadcasted to them over the antenna.